Nice to see you. My name is Igor, I am QA engineer, and today we are going to continue our topic storybooks and actually visual regression testing. We are going to touch up the code we are going to write to run those visual regression testing with Playwright. Then we are going to commit it to our repository, create our GitHub action, and run it automatically on every push or, for example, every merge request. So the idea of this video is to show you how to create your own solution with Storybook, with Playwright, and don't pay any single cent for that. And I think it should be interesting for you. Let's get started. Just brief reminder, where do we stop on our previous video? It was Storybook. Storybook is a front-end workshop for building UI components, and we are interested in visual testing. As you can see, there is in-box solution from Storybook and Chromatic, but it's kinda paid version. We can take a look. You can start for free, definitely, but it's Chromatic, where it's super easy to integrate. Actually, you can take it and try on your own, and there is handle instruction which I'm going to share with you. But our goal is to build our own solution. Why is it so? If you have like thousands storybooks, and if you have builds which are running 10 to 20 times a day, then a free version is definitely out of the box for you, and the prices are actually next one, $149 per month for just 35,000 snapshots. But if you are too low on numbers, you can start for free, of course, and it will be easy start for you. And it was not the case for me, and I needed to build my own solution. Why is it so? So actually nowadays you have all kind of tests. It could be UI tests. Most of them, you have a lot of them. If you have handy people from QA team or SDET team, you can use Playwright or any other Selenium based framework, for example. So you can track functionality, you can track API, oh my god, you can track API changes with API tests. But what about visual representation? So you can have UI tests to check, to compare visual representation with Playwright, but for that you need to set up all kind of related stuff. For example, it's a restricted account area, so you need to login user, you need to create some data, and it takes time and make it complex to build that solution. With Storybook you can just build one single component which is responsible for that page, and have a Storybook of that component and check it manually, again with Playwright solution. So as we can see, we made Chromatic. Let's see what we got previously. We already have predefined Storybook, it's a based one. We have 3 Storybooks default condition. We have pinned when we have a star here, and we have archived when task is done. And that's basic Storybook from our docs. You can find it. Actually, we used let's see, frameworks, where's tutorials and introduction, Storybook, get started. Yeah. And basically we used React component and task list. It was our mission to build a task list, and let's see the code we have. So that's a default source. In source we have component task, and for the task component we have a story with 3 states: default, pinned, and archived, as we can see here on our Storybook itself. Pretty easy. Okay, keep that in mind. We have just three components. Let's start over. First we need actually install Playwright. To install Playwright with yarn, we need to yarn create Playwright. we are just deleting some stuff. Yarn create playwright, we are using TypeScript. We are going to put into test directory, we need GitHub Actions, and we need to install browsers, and we will try to build GitHub Actions, so on every commit you will get running screenshot comparison by default. Okay, we are done. We need to make some adjustments. So previously Storybooks was built in Storybook static directory, and right now it's also the case, but previously you could just open index.html file and you can browse through all the storybooks, but it's not the case anymore. And so to open from Storybook static you need to run a local server, and that's why we can switch our solution. We can like run a little bit of our own solution. So Playwright has nice possibility to have web server running. Run your local dev server before starting the tests, and that's what we are going to use. So we need to start Storybook server before we are proceeding ahead, and let's uncomment all of the stuff quickly and let's work on that. So we will use different command. Let's open our package.json. Previously we have created a Storybook script, and that Storybook script runs Storybook on port 6006. What we need actually is to switch back to our web server and run actually npm. Oh, we are using yarn right now. Yarn run and Storybook. Okay, so we are starting our Storybook. Next, there is an URL which Playwright going to query and wait for 200 status response, and we need to provide actually, if we try to start our server locally, yarn run Storybook, let's see what we got. Okay, Storybook is open, but we are interested in URLs which we are going to use. Localhost 6006, so we are copying it and we are pasting it here, and we should be good to go. Okay, we are stopping our Storybook, which we started manually. Now when we have our web server running, we need to have only one project for now, not much on that. We need to uncomment our base URL, and basically we need to reuse the same base URL with localhost 6006. Now when we have test directory, we can call it, we can rename it and call it like screen div, and let's delete some stuff. Check screen shots of existing storybooks, and first things first, we need to get the list of all storybooks, and there is a trick to get this list. There is a file which actually called index.json, which available. You can like call it. Let's start our server again. Okay, let's call our file index.json. Here you can see internal structure of storybooks, and that's where you can find all existing storybooks in your project. First of all, we need key entries, and then those keys, we have key, storybook name, or I would say ID, title, and type. First type is docs, and docs is basically this one. It's a description of your storybook. We are not interested in docs, but we will need different type with type story. So our goal is to query index.json first. We need to get all stories. We need to get all entries with type story, and this will be our storybooks. Okay, not that difficult. We need just to write wait page, then we need to get request, we need to get, and actually it's just index.json, and then we need to get JSON, right? And that's we will call it storybook config. Storybook config. Okay, we got our config. Next, we need to basically parse this config and find information which we are interested in. And for that we need to get entries. So entries, we need to get all the keys. We need to get object keys, storybook entries, and this method going to return us all the keys. So we will have task docs, we will have task default, task pinned, task archived. Nice. Next, we need to iterate, and we need to actually filter. We need to filter out entries which has different type than storybook. So filter entry, and not actually entry, but yeah, entry, let it be entry. And then what we need actually to do is to get storybook config entries. Next we are going to use our entry, and next we are interested in type. Type should equal to story. So with this command we are going to filter out all entries which doesn't have a type storybook, type story. Okay, and actually we are going to call it storybooks. That's storybooks, and actually it should be const, because we are not changing this value, and this same is here, const. Next, when we need to iterate basically through these stories. For story of storybooks, and we can actually stop for a while, and let's create to add new configuration for npm, and we are going to run. Okay, let's create our script first, and let's call it screen div, and we are going to npx playwright tests, and yeah, let's double check. We basically need yarn playwright test. Right, and so we have screen div. Now we can run this. File. We need npm. We need to run screen div. That's it. Apply OK. Screen div. We are good to go. Let's get back here. Let's stop for a while. Let's start with debugging mode. And let's wait for a while. Let's see if we got those indexes. Oh, I know what's the problem. Let's start again. Okay, cannot find it. Quickly edit configuration, screen diff, and we need to run on different version of node. We need to run it on 18. Okay, let's start again. Okay, it's better now. We stop here. Let's see storybooks. Okay, task default, task ping, and task archive. We have 3 of them. So what happened here? First, virtual server started with our storybooks. Second, we got from index.json all existing storybooks. So let's compare it. Why not? Let's compare it. So next, how to open single storybook. For that, let me show you a trick which we can reuse. And we are running it. Okay, let's open. See, if we will open this URL, you will have different panels which we are not interested in. We need only pure our component. How to do that? Here's an icon which can open our component in new window. And basically this new window, we just need to copy this URL and set our story identifier. So at the end we will have page which we will use go to with our iframe, where we are going to change our story with story. Okay. That's a good beginning. That's a good beginning. Next, when we have opened this story, I want to point out that sometimes storybooks are not loaded immediately. Sometimes they have spinners. Like, let's see. Okay. See, there was a spinner. Let me show you again. Let's start it, and we don't have it. We don't have it, and there is a spinner, and the spinner has identifier of let's probably find out. Let's try to find out the spinner console. I know that this SB loader. Yes, this is SB loader, and we will try to SB loader, and just because we have only a few storybooks, if you have much more, you will have more time to wait for loading. So it's basically SB preparing story, SB loader. But before that, let's wait for like main. Let's wait for main storybook root. There should be a class storybook root. Storybook root, which basically has our storybook, and I propose when we open the page, we will wait page locator. We are going to provide storybook root, which is ID, and we will use expect page loader to be visible. Okay, so we wait for this locator. Next we need to wait that our loader is not visible, just in case. And this loader is SB loader, which is located in SB preparing story, and SB preparing story and SB loader. Done. Okay, we wait for both of locators. One is visible, one is not actually visible, and now we are going to try to do a screenshot. And also, we just to be sure, to be on the safe side, we can add some wait time, like one second should be enough page just to load random stuff, and wait for timeout, and we are going to set 1 second. Now when we have everything in place, we can actually compare the screenshot. We can run the screenshot. Wait, again, we are going to have expect page to have screenshots. We need, what do we need? We need full page. We can set custom screenshot name, and let's call it our story.png, plus we will have additional full page mode set to true. If you have large storybook, it's pretty handy for you. Okay, let's try to run it. Let's try to run it and see what we got. And we have an error. Snapshot does not exist. Basically, that's expected error because we don't have any baseline snapshots. And now we should have snapshot directory in a test where we got all 3 our storybooks. Like, it's done. But paying attention that storybook, that screenshots is created with a name according to your operation system. And in our case, it's Darwin. And for example, if you want to run it locally, this is totally fine. But all your colleagues probably have different machines. Some of them are running Linux, some of them are on Windows, and you will get mismatch and you will be frustrated handling all different versions and screens and stuff. So you need to utilize it somehow. You need to have one common platform where you are going to check new screenshots against baseline, and that's where actually Docker comes in. And basically we need to run our test inside the Docker, and only by running it in Docker we can say that everyone can run in Docker and everyone could have the same conditions as you. So but first let's try to run tests. Let's try to run them again, because we are not done yet. And okay, it's passed. Let me show you one trick. So let's say you have updated couple of screenshots, right? So for example, let's rename it to for example default 1, and this one we are going to rename to, we want to change place. We want to switch places of our screenshots. Why do we want to do that? Just to be sure. Pinned. Okay. I just want to show you what is going to happen in case of failure. I'm not sure. Sometimes WebStorm works so ugly. Like right now, see, it just like hang doesn't default. Now let's run the test. We are going to have failure on the first screenshot, and see, you have one failed test because you are expected actual this one and expected this one. By the way, see how handy it comes from Playwright. Playwright provides you default HTML report which handle all the data for you. You can have visual regression testing with all the differences showing you so nice. And I like it so much, and that's why I recommend to use it instead of like paid version if you don't want to pay, or if you want to have your custom solution. Because if you are a big organization, it's always about customization. It's always some custom thing which you need to like work on, and that's where like Playwright is a good base. So let's change our script so we will have 2 errors, not 1. For that we need to do a couple of things. first we need to move our part of screenshots into try catch block. Into try catch block exception, and we want to run our test inside try block, and we want to have like const errors. We want to have errors variable, errors, which is empty for now. Oh shit. But as soon as we get error, we need to push this error to our errors that push our that message, and then later after our loop, we are going to check if errors length greater than 0. We need actually to combine. We need actually to throw this error. We need to build our error message, and let's build error message. And to build this error message, we need to have a string, and we need to go inside. We need to go inside our errors, and we need to join each item inside the array with /n, and that way we are going to throw new error and with error message. And let's try to run our script again. And see the difference. So now instead of first failure, we have all the failures. We have first failure as we got previously, and we have second one which we didn't have previously because we stop execution of our test on the first error. And with this approach, you are making sure that you run through all the storybooks and not one by one. You get one error, fix it, and then another error pops up. It's not very handy. And so now when we have our errors, now we need to fix them. Let's say you change some internal structure of storybooks, and that's a valid message, that's a valid exception. And now we need to have one more method, not method but a command inside our scripts. Screen diff update. And now we need to run our Playwright with update screenshots. We can open our Playwright, and we want to find screen to have screenshot. So that's basically the method we are using in our test, and we need to find the command on how to update our test when some of the screenshot is changed. To have screenshot update, let's search for update, no, and let's search for update screenshot for example, and here is update screenshot flag. We need to run with this option. Let's get back. Let's update screenshots. As easy as that. Next we need to add this configuration, edit configuration. We need to duplicate it. We need to change it to update. We need to screen diff update. Okay, nice. Let's try it out. So once again, pinned pinned is not pinned right now, and we are running update. We are running update, and now this pinned should become normal again. Let's open pinned. Now we see it's pinned and test passed. So we need those two commands, but it's not the end. Now we need to have a Docker. So we want all of this stuff running inside Docker. And we can copy those two commands, screen div, we can call it screen div Docker and screen div update Docker. Okay, and now we know that Playwright provides its own Docker solution, and we will try to find it out in our Docker command. I'll copy paste this command which I always use in my scripts. It's docker run inside temporary directory. Entry point we are going to use basically npm, and we need to source our current directory. We are going to sync inside the Docker and under temp directory. So all the stuff which we have in our task box directory is going to link inside Docker. And currently we have Playwright 1.49 version Jammy Playwright, and inside we are going to actually run let's keep it npx. Yeah, let's have npx, no need in npm. npx playwright test, as simple as that. Screen div docker. Again, let's head back to our configuration. Let's duplicate, let's call it docker, and let's change docker. Okay, and let's try it. If everything went smoothly, we will get 3 more screenshots with Linux ending, which means we got new screenshots inside our Docker machine, but we got failure, and that's a good one. Process from web server was not able to start, exit code 1. Okay, so our web server cannot actually start inside our Docker. Yeah, okay, so to solve this problem, right now it's not possible to start Storybooks inside Docker, so we will start it outside Docker. We need a way to start our Docker and to start our Storybooks in the same time. And there is a package which called concurrently, and we can install it. We can run a terminal. Let's stop it for now. Yarn add concurrently. Okay, and when we started concurrently, we need to basically have 2 the same commands. We need to say it concurrently and -k commands. First one, we are going to have yarn. Yarn run storybook. No worries, we will handle it. Yarn run storybook, and next one is basically our Docker. That's our Docker, and we need to add also this way. So now when we run yarn Docker and concurrent, oh no, now we need to remove basically web server. We need to comment it out because it's not possible to run it in Docker right now. And let's start our test again. But we will have different error right now because our server actually not started yet. Let's see. Let's see what we got. But first of all, URL changed. So now we will use a different URL. We need to open our configuration. And actually, we will change our URL because localhost is not available inside Docker. And now we will need to use 6006. And okay, URL changed. Now we need to change our approach as well, because we need to wait until and let's open. So while server is starting, we already running our test, and this means that we have one failed test because get index.json returned an error. Index.json is not ready yet, basically. And let's work it out. Let's get back, and we need what do we need actually? We need to write tricky expectation. Await expect asynchronous, and inside we need to move our storybook config, and we need to no, not that one, this one. We need to move it here, and this one right now we are going to leave it as is, and we are going to set it to LED, and fine. Inside we are going to expect storybook config. Okay, expect storybook config to equal. We need actually some more expectation. Expect object containing. That's a tricky, I would say quite useful assertion. Let me show you. Object containing, it's Playwright, and here object containing, we can see how does it work. So if you have rich object and you want to compare only some part of this rich object, you can set what are you actually expecting. For example, expect any number, or expect only just this property for now. And what are we actually expecting is object containing. We're expecting to have entries, right? We need entries, and next expect that any object. Inside we don't need anything else. We just want to wait for our storybook, and then we need to pass. So that's a expectation which we are going to retry many times until it's success. And we need to set also timeout. We need to get back to our configuration. We need to add expect key. We need to set here also timeout, and it will be like, for example, 30 seconds. Should be totally enough. And let's get back. So we are waiting for our indexation. We are waiting for server to start. Now let's try again. Let's try again. We are starting our server. Server is started. Test is running. Test is running and we are waiting for the results. For the test results. Let's see if we'll get any success out of that. And we changed URL. We are waiting for gentle. One failed. Okay, and we didn't get actually Storybook root. And this one is interesting. Okay, so this error happens because page still is not ready, even though Storybook JSON config is loaded, but you need to wait for this URL. And we want to have one more check before proceeding ahead. Const, let's say let's move our URL out of this method, because we will reuse it a couple of times, and then again we need to have tricky expect. The more expects you have in your test, the more stable it is. That's really, if you have a lot of expectation, it's a good sign that you check every step. And let's call, so we need to get a response from this page. Response, and we are going to use page.request and .get. We have URL and poll, and we need to return status, return response status, and we need to poll for the status, and we need to set that status to be 200, and when the status is 200 we can finally open this URL. Let's try it out. I think it should help us. Again, we opened our Storybook. Now we want to pull it. Yes, snapshot doesn't exist. That's what we are expecting for. See, task pin Chromium Linux was not ready at that point of time. Now we will have 3 more screenshots, and this screenshot is actually from Linux. We need a couple more steps. We want to open our configuration and we want to set viewport size. Let's open our config, and inside the use we can set our viewport size, width and height. That's what we are going to use. As default, we can delete all the snapshots which we have and restart our journey. And just for your knowledge, right now we are showing all the messages from both Storybook server and from Playwright, but you can omit, for example, Storybook logs by hiding it, and you can hide it with let me show you. You can hide it with just rewriting output into dev null. You can achieve it with writing output into dev null, and that's easy solution. So we have new screenshots of our Linux. Let's try to run test again. Now it should be all green. It should be all green. Let's wait. command failed. Nice, nice, I like it. But actually it's passed. This one passed, but this one failed with command execution 1. And let's try to investigate why is it so, because I don't see any error here. Let me run just to make sure that we are good. Just got sign term, but test actually is green. That's strange. If we'll try to remove and run again. Maybe we have run in Storybook somewhere. No, it's actually started. And it still failed. But it's not actually... Locally it doesn't really matter, because what you care for is about tests, and tests green. And only yarn Storybook failed. That's probably because we turned off our process. Let's try to run it manually. Okay, it's green, but if you stop it, probably it's due to exit and sign term to other processes. Yeah, so that's because we stop it. Now we need one more, the last one. And this docker update docker, and just simple change here. We need to set test update snapshots. Okay, and just let's have a quick check with that. Yarn run screen wait, what did it run? No, this without docker. And update. Okay, this one is a lot. Screen diff update docker. And we should be good. I hope so. Okay, our previous because of sign term, but we are not interested in our test passed, and that's the main output which we are looking for. Now last step is having it running on CI. For CI we need different configuration. We need to copy our configuration. With CI we are going to run it inside Docker as well, but little bit differently. Let me show you what I mean. If webserver gives me a chance to do so. Oh my god, it's so buggy. It's just unbelievable. Just look at it. It's just hanging. Amazing how buggy this stuff. Git and copy. Come on, give me the chance to edit. Okay, for CI we actually can try to run webserver on CI, and we are going to run it with yarn run storybooks with like the same URL. And now let's get back. We are going to use localhost again, and we are going, yeah, we're probably good to go. Inside package.json we will need screen diff. Actually can reuse it. Screen diff CI. It should be as easy as that. So npx Playwright test. Right. Next step is our actually GitHub Actions script, and it should be created, but I don't see it. Interesting. I don't see. Let's steal it. Let's find a Playwright and Docker GitHub Actions. I propose to steal it, continuous integration, and we need GitHub Actions, and let's search for Docker actually. Docker pool, Docker, not interesting. Okay, let's copy github new directory dot github. Inside we need to have workflows, new directory workflows, and now we can create file playwright.yaml if I'm not wrong. And okay, finally on push branch main, okay, let's keep it straight and simple. On push branch Ubuntu latest and stuff, we need to set up node, we need to install dependency. Actually we will try to use yarn install. We are going to install Playwright browser, but actually yes. And now finally we will try to run our test, but actually it should be yarn run. Oh yeah, one more step. So in order to run CI configuration, we need to add a couple of tweaks. So actually we need to have this option CI -c, its configuration file playwright CI-ts. We need to set configuration file, so it should be screen diff CI yarn run screen diff CI if. Next we need to upload artifacts. Okay, next let's find out how to run it inside the container. So for that we are going to, we will need to set container name, and let me find out an example for you. It's pretty easy. Just container, it just near the Ubuntu latest. We are setting container image and same image as we had. Nothing really new, and that's it, and that should be it. Let's try to commit our changes. Let's see, package JSON, playwright CI, yarn log. We are going to add those. We have some unresolved file. Let's see what's that. We probably don't need that for now. Screen diff specs, we will need that. We need 3 of our screenshots, commit and push. Yes, we pushed. Now how to set up GitHub and its repository you can find in my previous videos. But for now, let's open our Storybook Playwright. It's here, and we have some actions. Look, actually it's running. It is running, and if it will work from first time, I wouldn't believe it. But still, why not? I mean, it's not that difficult here. Yeah, I agree with you. So to run it locally inside the Docker, you need to play around and find out why it's not running out of the box inside the Docker. Storybook file, but it should be running on CI inside the Docker, and that's a difference. So let's see. I think I know why, because locally when we are running yarn install, we are running it outside of Docker. So we are building packages for my Darwin machine, but when we are running it on CI, we are building packages for Linux, and that's why Storybooks are working there. So it's quite tricky to run locally inside the Docker with starting Storybooks inside the Docker, because you have different setup. You set it up packages for your local machine, and then you start Docker. Wow, no way. Just look at it. Just for the sake of truth, let's play around, and let's say we changed some of the storybooks are actually changed, and now we want to have failed test. Let's rename again as we did before. Archive. Oh my god, and this problem with editing. Okay, task archive, add. Next, we are deleting archive, and we are setting default as archive, and yeah, okay, so now we need to change as well archive name task. It should be default, so factor override, and now we have two different screenshots, and if you try to run it locally, it will fail because of two different screenshots. Okay, we have one command failed. Oh, I know why, because we need nvm use 18 version. Now we can run screendiff docker. Now we will have an error. I'm pretty sure. Failed, yes, because it has different screenshots. Yeah, as we can see here, expected to have screenshots, and 158 pixels are different, and one snapshot is actually doesn't exist. Interesting. Archived. Okay, it's a wrong name, so let's delete it and let's rename for the right name. Archived, and let's push it. Let's push run changes, and let's see what we'll got there. Committed and push. Now tests should fail if everything works according to plan. Init storybook. I'll just prepare correct fixes. Let's just update the screenshots and push the correct one. Yarn docker update, because command not file. Okay, because update docker. Update docker, and I believe that's our last part. And test passed. We successfully updated our screenshots locally, and I'll push it to Git, and let's see on our workflow where it goes. We are still running. Okay, we are still installing. It takes some time, be patient. Finally, in our test. So as you can see, inside the Docker, inside the GitHub Actions, we are successfully running Storybooks. And that's only because locally you have yarn installed for your local machine and not for a Linux inside the Docker. That's why you have a problem there, and you need to play around. And it's failed. And also you can get a report. See, test failed, fine. Now we will just push the correct version to make sure everything looks smoothly to files. Commit and push. Bam. Pushed. Nice. But let's get back to our failed test. Our failed test should have let's see, Playwright test. We should have our artifacts. Yes, artifacts, see Playwright report, and that's the report which you can download and review. Try it yourself. And we'll wait for green results next time, and this should be it. As you can see, that was it. Probably not the ideal or perfect one, especially when we are talking about Docker and local solution, but again, as I mentioned previously, that's because you build the packages with Yarn for your local machine, and then you try to use these packages inside the Docker, which are run under the Linux, and that's why you have a problem. We don't have that problems on CI though, because we are installing packages from the very beginning for exact machine. But anyway, just with one simple test, you are able to handle all your storybooks across all of your application and track all visual regression changes. Isn't it perfect? You get only for free even HTML reports which you can really use, and it just 15 lines of GitHub Actions which you can also use. So I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you will find it useful, because you need to spread the load from QAs and stop using only end-to-end tests. Try to build something new, try to build storybooks with components and reuse it. I wish you a good day and pleasure weekend. See you next time. Bye bye.